Human Design Gate 24, the Gate of Returning. Hey my loves, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole Ballantyne. I'm a wellness entrepreneur, lifestyle influencer, human design reader, and so much more. And on today's video, I wanted to talk about the human design gates and transits. So we can nourish our physical bodies by choosing to hydrate, by going in the sun, by connecting our bodies with nature, realizing we are actually one with this planet. So I do things like grounding or earthing our feet, walking in dirt. I recently took my daughter to the Bronson Caves, and we were like hanging by the water, playing by the stream, just connecting with the earth, because this is so important. Like, it's a symbiotic relationship. Like, just like the plants beautify and like connect with us or allow us to touch them, we can also like connect with them in that way. So as you guys can see, the angle has switched up. My camera is full, the memory card is full, so I'm going to just record the rest of this video here. So now let's talk about Human Design Gate 24, which is the Gate of Returning. So the Gate of Returning in I Ching is very much about the energy to come back to oneself. And this is very much the energy to rationalize, because to rationalize is to have kind of like a mental gap and then come back to a place of reasoning. So how do we reason with ourselves? What do we choose to put our focus and attention to on? And when do we decide to end the mental chatter? Gate 24 is definitely talking about mental chatter because it is about rationalization. We find that when we do not find a moment of peace with our thoughts or our answers that we've come up with, we then can now lead to a state of addiction. And this is why I wanted to talk about negative self-talk. This is something that we'll be experiencing in the full moon in Scorpio. It's going to bring a lot of healing to our negative self-talk and our imposter syndrome, and also limiting beliefs, because the reality is there are going to be some things in life we know. There are going to be some things in life we don't know, and there's going to be also things that we will never know. And when we understand those three things, it can help make our thoughts very rational. So that's why the Gate 24 is so much about how we take care of ourselves and really how we take care of our mind, because how we nurture our mind is really going to affect our thoughts, and that's how we're going to see our world. Also, the city of Gate 24 is silence. Can we allow ourselves to silence our mind and take a moment between those spaces where we are confused or conflicted to maybe give ourselves spaciousness, enough spaciousness to come to a place of clarity? Or are we addicted to correcting ourselves? Are we addicted to self-improvement as a theme for this season? It's really, really important to understand what addiction is, because addiction is the shadow of Gate 24. Addiction can be so much about wanting to find the answers to what there is no answer for. The Gene Keys, a great book. Sometimes I go to this book to reference a lot of the gates. As you can see, it's very beat up because I'm in a ritual with this. I am in my own spiral, as you can see, with this book. I take it to my car, I read, I contemplate on it, and then I create these videos because I do feel like the information here is so powerful. I don't want to call it my Bible because I do feel like the Bible is also a very powerful book, but it's very biblical in the sense that it feels very whole in the way that it's written, and you can literally give this book to someone, and I feel like just through reading this, their consciousness could transform. And I think anything that does that is powerful, is spiritual. So I highly recommend the Gene Keys. This book is always linked in my human design books on my Amazon shop. That's my idealist, the human design idealist of books that I love. So Richard Rudd, thank you so much for making this book, because it's changing a lot of lives and a lot of belief systems out here. I really do feel like seeing interdisciplinary works of art created is helping us see that, wow, like all of this information is shown through music, through art, through so much. It's not just spiritual, it's scientific, it's mythical, it's It's all these things. It's esoteric. Yes. So gate 24 is the gate of invention, and I really want to talk about the gift of invention. So the gift of this gate is the gift of invention, and I really want to talk about that because I'm going to explain my whole journey with cannabis through the eyes of gate 24. So there are periods where I can feel like, am I in an addictive pattern with this? Am I just doing this because I'm in a habitual way of using it? Or is it because I'm looking to gain invention in my thoughts, or I'm tapping into some type of creative element within myself? So that's when I started becoming more intentional about my cannabis use, and also I started to get more creative in destigmatizing it. I realized that when I sat with my thoughts truly and didn't get caught up in the fear of them, which I realized was a fear of, I was so afraid of being addicted that I got caught up in the idea that, like, maybe what I'm doing is wrong, and like of the stigma itself of it, because I was so caught up in, I felt my mom's judgment about it. I felt other things about it. But then I also had to be real about myself. Like, even while making this video, my voice has gotten hoarse multiple times. So did I smoke today? Yes. Did I drink enough water? No. So I'm going to be very real about that. That yes, if you are making your self-soothing habits prioritize over your self-care habits, then yes, that is a state of shadow, and that is something that to be looked at. But I also have a very positive relationship with the herb, and part of that has been being very meditative with it. I tend to pair it with reading my books, with meditating, with yoga, things, activities that are self-care for me. So with that, today is happened to be a one-off in the sense that I'm very self-aware about. I haven't had as much water, and also part of that is because my partner went out to get water at this moment, so we just haven't had enough water in the house. But that awareness is how I know, okay, you actually are using this in a positive way. Because if I was like, no, I'm going to avoid or ignore that, now you're kind of living in the shadow of addiction, because you're not allowing your mind to process, or you're avoiding your awareness, and now you're escaping. You're looking to find an answer in the thing that you're doing, instead of looking to find the answers within yourself, which is like the main thing. I think cannabis could be a very helpful tool for self-discovery, for raising your consciousness, for being a more empathetic person and understanding person, and also for getting over imposter syndrome. A lot of musicians, artists, creatives in the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years and longer, this has been used as a medicinal herb for thousands of years throughout society and humanity. Why is it that we should feel judged for using it, especially if we're using it for creativity? They talk about Billie Holiday used a lot of cannabis. She also drank and things like that too. She was highly creative, and she's left things for us that are now impacting our world. And I'll probably put a clip of Strange Fruit of the song here, because it's just so beautiful. And I do feel like having the courage to step up and do that, a lot of that probably plays into her relationship with cannabis and the relationship our ancestors had with plant medicine. I'm West Indian, so I am a descendant of Bob Marley, in the sense that we both come from the same country. I don't know if I'm a relative of his, but if someone wants to check 23andMe, I don't think so. But our family grew up in the same area, and this was very much about how he felt that he was kind of advocating for mental release, for people thinking for themselves, for us understanding, processing, integrating, and tapping into our shadow sides and seeing the beauty of the world. Because I do feel like growing up in a household where I grew up Jehovah's Witness, that I did have a lot of shame when it came to cannabis, or like, you know, just doing things that were wrong or things that were outside of the rules. So I never thought that I would be a person who would be such a big advocate of it. And I'm learning that part of it is having to gain acceptance and also reinventing what cannabis is, what herbalism is, what spirituality is, and really choosing to come into my own understanding, creating my own rules, and understanding that life is truly an experience. Like for me, I personally want to show people that you can have a healthy relationship with cannabis. You can use it to help heal your body, your mind, your spirit, gain a better understanding of others and yourself, without it necessarily having to be a negative thing. And part of that has been my personal journey through reinventing my relationship with it and understanding that I have to nurture myself in order to truly consume with pleasure, but then also to get over the shame of what society has told me about it and what that conditioning is. And part of it is not falling into addictive patterns, because again, it's really easy to judge myself, right? If I'm acting addictive with it, or if I'm not taking care of myself and I'm using it. We definitely judge people that look like stoners or are considered potheads compared to people who we feel like come off clean cut and, you know, just like look put together, right? I want to show that you can do both, and I do feel like it can be done. And a lot of the people that we admire that are celebrities do that. They just are super, super private about their cannabis use. But I do feel like, again, a big part of destigmatizing it and reinventing what it can look like in our modern day society has to do with sharing our stories about it. So I hope my discussion about cannabis has also helped you understand Gate 24, in the sense that the gate very much talks about mental chatter and are we trying to run away from ourselves through finding answers through substances or anything that could be addictive? The news could be addictive. OCD behaviors, you could get addicted to cleaning. That could be very addictive. So you do have to be mindful of any habit that is addictive, that's not positive, that's keeping you from your personal goals or even like your personal self-actualization, then yes, definitely reconsider them. Also, know that we grow into different people at different stages in our life. So at any point in your life, you may become or do something that you never thought you would do. And it's all part of our experience. It's all part of kind of the Maya, as in the mechanics of the material plane, playing itself out. So trust yourself. Also, learn what addictive behaviors are. Learn your family history. Also, know how your body feels, staying very much in tune and nurturing yourself when you are using substances that can possibly be mind altering, or that are just like different than what you're used to taking or ingesting in your body. So these are things to think about when you are reflecting on Gate 24. And I really hope that my chatty self-projected projector understanding of it and experience has been able to help you. I just really love seeing the world through the lens of human design, because it makes so many things make sense on like a really deep level and interdisciplinary level. Also, I love ending the gates on the positive note and on the city, or I wouldn't even say positive, but on the city, which is the highest expression of that gate. And Gate 24, the highest expression of that is silence. So I ask that if you're watching this video and you really enjoyed listening to Gate 24, you have this gate in your own gene keys, that you take a moment to be silent and just listen within the gaps. Understand that even within music, we have the notes and then we have the space in between. And it's in those spaces that actually make the music just as much as the notes make the music. So what makes life super ecstatic or super delightful sometimes is those lower or more saddening moments that we may experience, but know that those moments are also part of the music that is our lives. So if you like this video, I highly recommend watching my other Human Design Gates videos. I also will link them here so that you can see, or down below. I really love the Human Design Gates contemplation because the Human Design 64 gates cover 64 life themes, and these life themes are reflected in the I Ching, which is an ancient divination tool that really can help us show the way the wheel of the world works, or the wheel of life works. So if you also love this video, I highly recommend subscribing to this channel to see more human design reflections, as well as esoteric and spiritual reflections, and also booking a reading with me. I'm a human design reader and I read charts in a very esoteric but practical way. So if that is something that you're interested in and you want to hear from a projector guide, then I highly recommend booking a one-on-one reading with me. And if you're in the Los Angeles area, I do also have VIP readings. These readings are vetted, so I'm very mindful of who I meet up in person with and share my energy with. And they are, a special ticket because they're high value. If you love this video or love these types of conversations, then I have tons of offerings and services that will fit your needs. I really just want to see people see life from a spiritual way and understand that this life can be as magical, as mystical, and as spiritual as you want it to be, as you deem it to be or see it to be. So I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. If you made it this far, hit the notification bell and stay in touch.